Replay viewers, it's your boy Chris Strub. It's Monday. It's 4 o'clock. You know what that means. It's time for another edition of Chris Strub's Nonprofit Spotlight. Today's guest will be Meridian Herman from the Salvation Army of Chicago. We're going to get started here in just a moment as I see Ashley Grossman here from the Salvation Army North. Just a little bit west of Chicago. Melody Murphy's here as well. She'll be our guest next week. So, Melody, you're just 1 week early. I see the Social Media Association of Houston is here. The Salvation Army of Wisconsin is here. Super excited to have all you guys here. I'm going to bring in Meridian here in just a second. But I want to say thank you so much to everyone who's watching live. Just as a reminder, I've got a little ring light over the number of viewers who are here live. So I cannot see how many people are watching. I can see the comments that are coming in. So please, I encourage you to stay active, join the conversation, keep up with the comments. I'll keep an eye on them as much as I can. Ashley, Sarah, we've got a great squad here. And I'm going to accept Meridian's request. We're going to get going. We're all busy. I don't want to waste your time. We're going to get rocking and rolling right away here with Meridian in just a moment.
Okay. Can you hear me?
There she is. I can hear you and see you, Meridian. It's great to see you. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I am great. I am great. Okay, let's get right into it. Episode 3, here we go. Meridian Herman is the digital marketing and social media manager for the Salvation Army Family and Community Services of Chicago. She's also a former marketing manager for Illinois Engineered Products, Acorn Wire and Iron Works, Mid-America Tile, and a rental housing advisor for Oak Park Regional Housing Center. She's also an Illinois girl at heart, which is why I got my Chicago Cubs hat on here as well. Meridian, welcome to the show. It's so lovely to see you again. I want to get you started with this question. Why did the Salvation Army Chicago get started with live streaming and get started on Facebook Live? Did Meridian freeze up?
Oh no, did I freeze?
I can hear you.
Okay, but you can't see me?
Go on ahead. I think I can hear you just fine. Rock and roll.
I'm sorry. Nonprofit life. We only sometimes have Wi-Fi.
All good.
We found that most of our engagement with our followers is coming from doing live streaming, either on Instagram or as an Instagram story or Facebook Live. And so to really engage our users, our fans, our supporters, we decided to make more and more effort to get a lot more Facebook Live and Instagram stories happening in our social media strategy this year.
Terrific. So talk to me a little bit about the process of how you decide when and where to go live. I know a lot of organizations face the same question. So how do you consider all the different things that are happening in and around Chicago with the Salvation Army? How do you decide when and where to go live?
Well, it's tough. If we could cover everything, we would, but unfortunately, it's mostly a 2-woman department here when it comes to that. We have some communications people, and as much as we can, we try to empower the core officers who run the different community centers throughout the Chicagoland area and our division to do the live broadcasting as much as they can, but there is a lot more training that needs to be done because it doesn't really. We planning a broadcast, we try to do. Can you hear me? Chris, can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, sorry, the connection is a little bit wonky. Let me know in the comments, guys, if you can see and hear Meridian. Okay, well, let's just keep going. We're going to keep on pushing through.
Sorry, you guys.
But I want you to talk a little bit about the process of making. Can you see and hear me okay? Yeah, Ashley's hitting sort of the same question here. What does the training look like when you train your officers? And the second part of that would be, how do you make people who are not familiar with this stuff comfortable on a live stream video?
So it depends on their level of confidence with any kind of social media. If they're starting at square one, then I generally don't take them to live streaming right away. We start with posting photos. But for those who are a little bit more social media savvy, we talk about what the event is, why we're doing the video, and what we're going to talk about on the video. So it's still very much an improv type experience, which is kind of the joy of being live. But it also depends on what, you know, their message is going to be for the day or for that particular video. So we make sure that we're repeating that message over and over, introducing themselves over and over, because people will come in and out of the broadcast. And so they need to be prepared to think about that. Because most people say, oh, I'm Meridian, I'm here on behalf of the Salvation Army to talk about blank, one time and just be done with it, because you think, oh, somebody's watching this video the entire time. But when it comes to the live broadcasting, you've got people coming in and out, and you know, you want to make sure that you're acknowledging that people are interacting with you live, and sort of being like, oh, hey, Ashley, thanks for joining us, and thanks for reading my same time message about this call right before I came in here to do this. And then, you know, just basically outlining what you want to discuss during the video, so you make sure you cover all the key points, whatever your call to action is, whether it's to visit a website or make a donation or volunteer, that you're saying that over and over and then adding it in the comments or the description or whatever. So all of those types of things I just sort of outline, and actually got that from a handy little webinar from a best practices thing which we talked about the last time you were in town, and that's really helped guide me in how I plan these in the ahead of time.
Perfect. I am gesturing that I can mostly hear you. The connection isn't fantastic, but let's keep on going. I think we're all right. I wanted to ask you guys, and I'm going to throw it back to Ashley's question here in a second as well, about the frequency and stuff of what you're doing. But I also want to ask you if you have a specific Facebook Live that stands out that you guys have done, or a live broadcast that you guys have done in Chicago that is really memorable for you, that maybe viewers, listeners can go check out after this broadcast.
Is it shameful to say it was the one that I did with you the last time you were here?
Well, that's okay. That's a good one. How about any broadcast? So full disclosure, so I met Meridian along the Salvation Army Fight for Good tour. You can read about Meridian in the Fight for Good tour, the book, as well as, of course, the lovely soldiers out there doing the work every day and fighting for good, of course. But let's say outside of Chris Strub, favorite broadcast that you guys have done at the Salvation Army of Chicago?
I would say the Donut Day donut eating contest that we did at our Displays Corps. That was just June 1st. That's National Donut Day. For anyone who doesn't know, the first Friday of June every year is National Donut Day, started by the Salvation Army 80 years ago here in Chicago. And we had a first ever donut eating contest at that Displays Corps Community Center. They had, I think, like 8 or 10 contestants. They fundraised online, and we teased out information on the normal divisional headquarters pages beforehand, our social channels, because we have a lot more followers than the Core Community Center does. That's hyper local. So we tried to direct traffic to their page, and it was really fun. It was a shorter broadcast, and there was some lull towards the end. There was some uncomfortability from the people who were participating that were just like, I'm on live on social, I don't know what to say or how to look. But that's, again, part of the charm of being live and proving that you're real people. And the donut eating was, of course, really fun. No one got sick. There was no like reality TV show drama, but there was an inflatable donut that I got to take home with me. And it does make random appearances throughout the office, and will probably show up on another live stream at some point in the near future.
I love that. The Donut Day backstory is such a great story. You know, if you're interested in the Salvation Army and you don't want to wait till December, like many people do with the bells and everything, right there at the beginning of June, National Donut Day. It's such a terrific story that so many of the chapters tell so well all around the country. I'm going to pause for just a moment, Meridian. By the way, your connection is way better now. So whoever
I turned off the Wi-Fi.
I was going to say, whoever was watching Netflix in the office next door, they probably finished up that episode. No, I'm just kidding. But I want to say thank you to our sponsor for today's show. Episode 3 of Chris Strub's Nonprofit Spotlight is sponsored by Live Streaming for Nonprofits, which is my online Think of It course. It's about a 3.5-hour live video course that will show you and your organization how to live stream. So if you see all these live streaming rock stars like Kara and Sarah and, of course, Meridian here today, and you want to get more involved with live streaming with your nonprofit, go check that out. Meridian, I saw a broadcast on your page in researching a little bit more that you guys did a little while ago about the Shield of Hope building, and I thought that was really exciting as well. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and how all that
thanks
works?
for reminding me. I actually kind of forgot that was another one of my favorites. We opened the first of its kind emergency homeless assessment and rapid response center. And so basically it's temporary housing for families, which was an unmet need here in the city of Chicago. So it's a partnership with the city. And because it was the first of its kind in a brand new building, we thought one of the coolest ways to introduce our audience to it was to behind the scenes go around and do a sneak peek kind of tour during the grand opening. And so we shared that on all of our channels and got a lot of photos and videos and talked about what life is going to be like for the families that stay in that temporary shelter and why it makes such an impact on their lives.
And that behind the scenes, that's everything. I know we talk a lot about that in the social media space, giving access, right? I also talk a lot about the 99-1 rule, which is that 90% of the people that watch a broadcast or watch anything on social media won't react in any way. And when we talk about live streaming for nonprofits, I think that 99-1 rule needs a further amendment because there actually are a ton of, and that video got a lot of views, but I would say that it's even greater than 90% of people that see that won't comment on anything, because that may be a service that they and their family actually need, and they don't necessarily want to comment or share and say like, oh my gosh, look, my family is going to be living here. So it's really, really important to remind, especially nonprofits, that the messages that you're putting out there really matter to a lot of people, whether or not they're commenting along or hitting like or anything. Think about the practical side of things. Would you want to comment? Would you want to like or share? Probably not. But that video that we just referenced might be the most valuable thing and may actually change lives in ways that people may never reference. So Ashley's asking, this is a prudent question here, how long do your broadcasts usually go? 5 minutes, 10 minutes? How do you decide how long a broadcast should be?
Well, ideally, what I've been told the best practice is like 20 minutes or longer, because that really gives people a chance to tune in. It gives you an opportunity to dig in deep in whatever topic you're covering that day, and to remind people of your call to action, hopefully talk to a few different people. In general, I've had trouble getting things to broadcast that long. We tried to do another behind the scenes type donut day event when we were with WGN around town. Annabelle Vault, very cool person. It was such a neat experience, and I wish I could have recorded it all so that you guys could have really seen all of the behind the scenes that we were doing. But it was so loud and so much was, happening that they didn't want me to record behind the scenes, that it just didn't broadcast as well. And so we ended up having mini broadcasts of like 4 or 5 minutes versus enough time for people to really join us live, make comments, interact with the video, and, us to really get the big message across. But it was still fun. It was still very engaging, but I would have done just like Instagram stories and photos and short videos for that.
I think next time, this is a bit of a Salvation Army joke. If you bring Dahlberg along and just have him do the broadcast, I'm sure he'd be happy to chat for several minutes. Dahlberg, of course, Major Dahlberg, legendary guy in Chicago. You can check out my video that I did with Major Dahlberg on my YouTube channel, where, of course, we did an extended interview and stuff. I also did a Facebook Live with these guys. So, Meridian, I want to ask you what you love most about working with the Salvation Army.
Oh, I would say the best part is knowing that I'm making a difference. Even though it's indirect, I get a lot of different kinds of comments and shares on social media that indicate to me that what we're putting out there with our messaging is resonating with people, both our supporters and donors, our volunteers, and then our clients. I've had people send messages to me saying, I'm living in my car right now, where can I go to get shelter? And I'm able to give them that quick response of, you need to call 311 and there's a list of shelters there, etc. Here's what our mobile feeding schedule is, and to help those people. But for the most part, I know our greater mission is happening because I see the statistics, I see the impact that it's having in different people's stories that we try to share as much as we can on social media as well as our website. And that to me is what makes the difference, is knowing that we had an impact on somebody's life, and we take that holistic approach so that it's helping someone with a hand up instead of a hand out.
I think we can't emphasize that enough, right? And that's what's so difficult sometimes about social media for nonprofits in general, like we said, is that success sometimes is measured in these vanity metrics of, likes and shares and comments. Success is really measured by the things that Meridian just talked about there. And if you work for a nonprofit, if you have any connection with a nonprofit, you know that. And sometimes it's hard to quantify that. It's hard to put that into an Excel sheet. It's hard to put that, and it's hard to make those comparisons. So that's why
I do it.
Yeah, but we do it, right? So it is a thing that still has to be done no matter what. I want to ask you one more, and I referenced in your introduction there, Meridian, some of your background in the for-profit sector, right? So I wanted to ask you what inspired you to join the nonprofit sector in general, right? That it's obviously very different. What are some of the biggest differences between working for a for-profit and for a nonprofit?
Besides salary.
Fair. I'm sure you had plenty of donuts on National Donut Day, though.
What did you say?
I'm sure there were plenty of donuts on National Donut Day, though.
Yes.
So that makes up for it.
Yes. By far, the rewards of working in a nonprofit outweigh the kind of salary that you get. And in case my boss is watching, it's not a problem. But the nonprofit world is full of a lot more altruistic people than you'll see in corporate sometimes. I found that there are a lot of good people in for-profit organizations as well that want to give back but choose to do it differently. And for me, I felt that because I'm a workaholic, I really wanted to do this type of work all the time, not just in my free time. I wanted it to be the majority of my time. And the difference, I would say, is really the kind of messaging that you put out. With the different nonprofits that I've had, it's a lot about how we make a difference in people's lives and how your dollars can make a difference or your volunteer time can make a difference, that kind of thing. Whereas when it's corporate, I've generally found...
Oh, we've got a dropped phone. Are we good? Okay. We're all right.
Sorry about that.
We were deep in conversation there.
I know. Well, I don't have a tripod, so I'm being very creative here with my hand holding with the T-Rex arms. But essentially, when you're doing corporate messaging, it's really about what's going to make the sale, and there's all sorts of advertising and sales tactics behind it that are a little bit different than what you use to cater to an audience that's looking at your nonprofit social media or marketing.
Terrific. Meridian, this has been fantastic. I got to ask you one more question, though, as we start to wrap up here. We're up against 20 minutes. What do you love about living in Chicago? And even more importantly, Cubs or White Sox?
I support all teams,
okay.
Chris. And I remember when you were in town, even though you said you didn't support the White Sox, that you were going to a Sox game. So I think that secretly deep down you support all of our teams too.
Touche. Good job. Yeah, I like the memory there. I did go to a White Sox game. We made that happen. I held my nose the whole time.
Oh my gosh. I love Chicago for a huge variety of reasons, but one of the main ones is the level of diversity that's here, the types of people that you'll meet from all different kinds of walks of life, all different colors, everywhere on the gender and sexual identity spectrum.
Sure.
People that have different beliefs and are excited to express them. And there's the good and the bad with that, but yeah, I was born and raised here, came back here, and I love it. It'll be hard to get me to move from here, but part of that is because I see the good work that I accomplish here at the Salvation Army and with some of the other fun stuff I do locally, like the TEDx Oak Park Women event that's coming up in December that I've encouraged Chris to send in a talk submission for, if you guys are familiar with TED Talks.
I received those text messages as well. Yes.
So anyone else who's interested in doing a TED Talk, just saying, TEDxOakParkWomen.com. But yeah, so Chicago is amazing, full of interesting people who are always interested in hearing new ideas and sharing their own ideas. And that's really what keeps me here, I think.
Terrific. Well, guys, we're going to wrap this up here, but I really want to say thank you to Meridian. This whole month has been just really, really incredible for me with this show. Cara Baribeau from Louisville, Sarah McDowell from Charleston, West Virginia, now Meridian Herman. Next week, we'll have Melody Murphy again from United Way of Louisville. These 4 women are just super incredible people, and I highly encourage you to connect with each one of them. I am so grateful for your time, your support. I've been very, very blessed and very lucky to get to travel around the country, work with nonprofits. And, Meridian is one of those people that you just want to be friends with. She's so nice. She's so kind. She's so generous. And I'm so grateful for your time, Meridian. Thank you so much. I'm going to throw one more question at you just because our video was a little bit clogged up in the beginning. So we're going to burn a little bit more of Meridian's data here just so I have this one on the record. Your best piece of advice for a nonprofit that is thinking about using live streaming for the first time would be?
Plan, but be flexible. Have an idea of what you're going to do, what you want to achieve with the video, and then recognize that it's live and nothing's going to go exactly according to plan, and you got to roll with it, and you got to make the best of it, and then find a way to share it again later.
That's what life is all about. Meridian, thank you so much for rolling with the punches today.
Thank you, Chris.
Absorbing the changes in the plan. You are just fantastic. I really, really appreciate it. And that's going to wrap it up. I'll text you later. Meridian, thank you for your time. We'll let you get back to work. And that's just about it. I want to say thank you to all of you guys for watching. I saw some of you, some of my good friends were here. I saw Saba jumped in. Victoria was here. Of course, Ashley was here watching the whole time, which was awesome. Jake and Vicky are here. Blake is here. Jordan's here. Really, really appreciate all of you guys being here. Of course, the replay will be up here for 24 hours. And later tonight, I'm going to work on getting the first 3 episodes uploaded. So again, episode 1, Cara Baribeau from the Community Foundation of Louisville. Episode 2, last week with Sarah McDowell, formerly of Big Brothers Big Sisters of South Central West Virginia. And today, of course, Meridian Herman from the Salvation Army of Chicago. If you want to learn more about what they do, I forgot to give her a chance to plug their Facebook page and everything, but you just type in Salvation Army Chicago. You can check out all of their videos there. Meridian, if you want to put that in the comments, you want to put your Facebook URL there in the comments, I'll be sure to pin that. Of course, if you want to learn more about the Salvation Army all across the country, including in Chicago, you can check out my book, Fight for Good Toward the Book. Picture was taken when I was way younger there, way back in October. Fight for Good Toward the Book, of course, my second book. You can also get my first book, 50 States, 100 Days, the book. It's available now on Amazon as well. Man, busy month, guys. Busy week ahead. I will be heading out on the #Road to Social. So if you want to check out my latest adventures, we're traveling across the country with Brian Fanzo, Amanda Robinson, and Jessica Phillips, and just a whole bunch of really incredible people. I'll be speaking June 27th in Wichita at Social Media Day Wichita. And I'll be speaking June 29th at Social Media Day Denver. I see Ashley Grossman there. Sal Army North, S-A-L Army North, I'm sure, on Instagram. Ashley also is one of those wonderful, wonderful people. And don't be surprised if you see Ashley as a future guest here on Chris Strub's Nonprofit Spotlight. Thank you guys for watching. Again, Chris Strub here signing off. Check out teamstrub.com to learn more. And stay tuned. Next week's Nonprofit Spotlight will not be held from here in Huntington. So we're going to take the show on the road next week. Stay tuned to see where we'll be. But of course, we'll be live with Melody Murphy from the Metro United Way. Signing off for now, guys. Ta-ta. Thanks for watching. I really, really appreciate it.